Hey, everybody, how's it going today? All right. First of all, thanks so much for being here. This will be fun. I have one of my courses on sale, one of my master classes actually on sale, 75% off if you use the link. It's the Blues Moves Masterclass, and that is 75% off, and you can use that link that BV so generously put in the chat, and I have it in the, of course, in the link down below and all that. So today I thought we'd do something fun. My good friend Keith Williams, who is online with us, was so kind to let me check out his Strandberg guitar. This is a Masvidalian, and you might have seen it on Keith's channel. And I started getting an interest in checking out some other guitars because I love guitars. Hey Jeff, you started off playing vintage Strats and vintage Les Pauls. Then you're playing PRSs, and then now you're playing a Strandberg. There's a whole bunch of reasons for this. One, fun, right? Guitars are fun. So the first thing was I was looking for something that maybe travel with, because traveling with a guitar has become such a monstrous pain in the butt. And if I'm not gigging, what can you bring? And then, going to Europe in a few weeks or a month or two, and it's not for performing. And so do I bring a flight case with me, or do I, it's become so difficult, and they've made the overhead so much smaller. So I was just thinking about something I can travel with. And then I was also thinking about ergonomics. And I was talking to Tim Pierce, who's a good friend. And Tim did a video on one of these. And Keith's been talking about this for a while. And my friend Michael Cope was on here, was using one because he had a little shoulder thing. And Tim had hurt his neck. And he was talking about the guitar. And talking to Tim, he's like, yeah, man, those things are great. So Keith let me borrow and check his out. So I've just really been really curious about a guitar. I sit here all day. When I'm not filming videos, I'm practicing, I'm editing video and all these things. So ergonomics have become a big thought for me, especially, I've had a few little hand things going on. Everything's feeling a lot better. I am working with the Michelle from Virtual Hand Care, who, if you watch my old videos, I did an interview with her. And we've been doing some exercises that I've been finding have been really great. One of the big problems is that I am doing too many of the same thing and not the opposite. So I'm doing a lot of work to do the opposite thing. So I also noticed, when I watch myself play with even my Strats and the Tuttles and the Les Pauls, and particularly Les Pauls and the PRSs, I end up looking like this by the end of the day, or most of the day. I'm slouched over. And so I'm really trying to get the posture better. So I got this for the other guitars. You might have seen this and got to talk about this, and I'll talk about this in a minute. And so I thought I'd check out a Strandberg. So Keith, like I said, was really cool and sent me his. So, getting used to it. It sounds great. So Keith can chime in. This he put a bare knuckle in here. So the guitar is under 5 pounds. It's completely, it doesn't feel like you've got anything on at all. I like lighter guitars to begin with. Like my Tuttle is 7 pounds, and some of my PRS is around those 7 to 8, depending on how thick the body is, or we'll talk about the neck and all this, but my initial thoughts on the guitar right off the bat was, wow, this is really comfortable. This is really, really comfortable. And it comes as no surprise to people who play Strandbergs. My friend Chris Bono had chimed in on my Instagram page because he's playing these, or Rick Tune guitars, very similar, sort of more ergonomically designed guitars. Now, for me, as a very a guy who likes traditional guitars, I was a little, shy about them at first, and I was like, well, the heck with it. Just another tool to help play as long as you can, play as long as you want. And I like that I'm starting to feel like there's things I can do on this that are a little bit more difficult on other guitars, and maybe things on this that I wouldn't feel quite as comfortable doing. So just to run through, I think the coolest thing, and I think, obviously if you guys know anything about the guitars, let's talk about this right here. So if you're sitting down on a regular guitar, it can rest on your leg like that, and it's fine too, right? It sounds great. So you can rest like this, but there's this cutaway right here, and that can put the guitar in a bit more of a classical position. Now, I find I have to wear the strap with it, but I'm finding the middle of my back is hurting a little bit because I don't usually sit up this straight. So that's good. right? Because I'm starting to realize, not starting to realize, I've known for years that my posture is terrible. And that will also lead to fatigue. And like I said, I edit videos a lot. I'm in this chair filming videos. So I'm working on the seat height and the guitar. But I found this like right away to feel really, really comfortable. Not very far from what I'm doing with this thing, which I'll show you on my other guitars. Get that out of the camera way. All right, so the most notable thing, I guess, about the guitar is what they call the Endure neck. And it's got a sharp angle here, and it's kind of soft. And there's this flat part that runs up the fingerboard, and it kind of moves in an angle as you go up with your thumb. So as I go up, it kind of drops your thumb down a bit, which is really cool. And it's very narrow here. And so when you're grabbing over the top, it doesn't feel that weird. And it's takes a little getting used to, but I'm getting used to it. I got it a little while ago, and I talked to Keith. I'm like, I was going to do a live today. I wasn't sure. I didn't really have anything prepared. I've been busy doing stuff. And he's like, do a live on the guitar, talking about it in real time. So I thought it was, what a fun idea to share this with you. So it feels really good. Well, I thought it would take me a little while to get used to it. It's taken me a little bit to get used to, but it's not really weird. Like after playing it for a bit, I'm like, oh, I'm totally understand this guitar, if that makes sense. So the next thing that's pretty cool too is the fanned frets, which I really like. Peacemaker, bare knuckle peacemaker. Okay, so the fanned frets. So as you go up the fingerboard, it kind of just situates your hands properly, right? So as you move up and as you move down, it follows the ergonomic design of the way your wrist moves. I know they have a lower price version called the Essentials. I put a link, if you decide, hey, I want one of those. I'm not getting paid for this. This is just for fun. I have a Sweetwater affiliate link I put down to these guitars if you want to check one out. If you decide to get one, then Sweetwater kind of helps you this way. But there is no, nobody's paying me anything for this. This is fun. I'm looking for it for my own fun and edification. So now here, I don't notice this at all. A little weird on the eyes for a second. But when I'm playing, it's not quite set up for me yet. It's a little low action. Keith's got it pretty low. I'm just finding I don't notice it at all. So that's pretty cool. Chords might take a second to get used to, maybe. That's a little different on some of these chords. I don't have really big hands, so I can't foresee it being a problem, just maybe a little bit of an adjustment thing. But I'm kind of digging it, It's chambered as well. Maybe Keith can chime in on what the wood is made out of. Is it basswood maybe? So yeah, let's hear it. So we got a coil tap on this, or no, it turns into a P90 sort of sound, but pretty noiseless, and then a full humbucker. Now I'll compare it, I'll put on like my PRS or something like that, so it does definitely sound different. This is a lot hotter output pickup, but so a little over. Because I'm not quite used to it yet. Very flat radius, 20-inch radius, and I'm used to 7 1/4 or 10. So big difference there. But one thing I'm noticing right away, chambered basswood, maple veneer, and birch burl laminate. Yeah, so it's cool. And it's the fixed bridge, it's not the tremolo. Things I'm noticing, like I go to like a higher gain. Like the whole Halterthy stuff, because Alan Halterth, I believe, helped design the neck. Not quite warmed up with this though. Yeah, I gotta get used to it on this guitar, but it's so easy to play that I'm not used to doing that stuff on this guitar, if that makes sense. It's shockingly easy to play with the flatter radius, and this neck makes a lot of sense for that kind of playing. So when I was saying before about like tools and what would suit me, and what I think is going to be fun about this guitar, if I don't own one, about maybe getting one or something, is it makes you play differently, and it covers a lot of things that I love a vintage radius. I love a feel of a vintage Strat. But there's certain things that are very difficult to do on that guitar, like those kind of Halsworthy shreddy things. And in this, it's so easy, I'm not used to it. So like I said, this is all live. I haven't done any adjusting to the guitar. But I can see certain things would be really, really easy on this. Now, what feels a bit weird is, the blues, that's too distorted. So I'm kind of missing stuff. I'm not used to it yet, but now one thing I'm noticing, and Keith brought this up, is since it's a different scale, when they do the fan frets, that the high strings feel a little slinkier. So it's interesting that Keith said these are 10s, and they definitely feel lighter than it does on, say, like my Strat or my PRS or my Gibson. But it feels quite kind of right down here, though, which is really kind of cool. So I like the concept of that. Like I said, if I'm messing up a lot, it's because I'm getting used to it as well. But if I'm sitting like this, it feels pretty comfortable, too. So I'm a little bit more used to playing in that position, but I can see the value of that. I'm just not quite used to it yet. But as I'm playing up here, I'm not noticing those fan frets one bit. Got more gain. Now, I would probably want a 2 pickup guitar at some point, but this is really fun the way it is. And the way Keith has got this wired with this sort of P90 sound, I like it. Full humbucker. So let's get a more of a cleaner sound on it. Clean for me, I never really play with super clean. Try that. Yeah, it's really comfortable to play this way. As I kind of get into it, I feel like I definitely need the strap, though. If I took off the strap, I would be holding, it's not neck heavy, it's just the angle. If I do this, it's totally body heavy, or the way it should be, fits perfectly. When I do this, of course, there's nothing to hold it up, so it's going to go down. So you do need the strap for that, which is fine, because I don't like playing with the strap on the regular guitars. It never sits right for me. Feels like it's too high, or I'm holding on to this, whether it's a 7 or 8 pound guitar with the strap, then I just start falling back into the slouchy stuff. So any questions so far? I think it's pretty cool. My initial thing is kind of digging it. Jumbo frets, those are pretty high. They're stainless frets, but it definitely feels modern. But it doesn't feel uncomfortable, which is cool. I'm not going like, oh, this is terrible. I don't feel that way at all. And what I do like so far, and I have no time on it, is I don't like really, really thin necks. I can't play them. I find that's when my hand actually hurts. Like I had a Charvel, like a Jakey Lee Charvel, or any kind of Charvel neck makes my wrist hurt. Well, in here hurt really quickly because there's not enough support. What I'm finding is that it's this angle here. It stays fat where my hand is. So where the palm of my hand sits on the back of the neck, and I'll show you on another guitar. It still feels like there's enough mass here. And I found on the Charvels, Mr. Softy. Okay. When I find on a Charvel or a thinner neck, for me, when I don't have the mass back here, that's when my hand starts to hurt, when I'm bending strings and things like that. Like, I don't have any time on this yet, so I mean, I could find that this does hurt my hand. I don't know. 'Cause that's the thing that specifically I found with thin neck guitars, that when I'm bending, which is a big part of my playing, that I need that kind of the hand there to be kind of full of the guitar neck. And I noticed when I was playing like the Jakey Lee or the thinner Charvels, there was all this space between my finger and the palm like that. But I don't feel like I'm doing that. Let me sit regularly. No. So like my hand is fully against the back of the neck of the guitar. And like I said, the guitars that hurt my hand is when I'm doing this and there's kind of a space between there. So that's pretty cool. I would like to try the two humbucker version. Now they have the less expensive version, which does not have the fanned frets. So that could be interesting as well. But I'm kind of psyched about checking this out because the fan fret is part of the whole deal of the guitar. All right, so any questions on this? So okay, so Brad, you've gotten one. The arc of the fret inlays creates the illusion of fan fret. Angus, it is fan frets. They are fan frets. That's the thing about it. That's kind of cool, but it doesn't feel like fan frets or whatever. I thought it doesn't feel like what I thought fan frets would feel like. It's a good sentence, isn't it? Yeah, Brad, you got one, Brad Romans, and I could see getting used to it. Sure. And it seems like it would be kind of fun to, not to dismiss the guitar, but like a really kind of cool couch guitar, right? It seems like just sitting on the couch is to be really fun and lightweight and just be able to kind of use it any way you want. So the things I'm noticing right away is it's going to be able to play faster things on it easier. And then it's going to be a little, for me to get used to that. So you want to hear it next to, say, like the PRS, which is going to be completely different, of course. And so this is the bare knuckle, and the PRS I just got Ron Ellis pickups put in. Let's hear that. Now, it's an unfair comparison because they're going to sound completely different. I'm not comparing them to see which one we think sounds better. I'm just going to let you hear that I think that sounds good too. They're going to sound very different. This is not a comparison. I don't have anything that compares to that, as opposed to like having a few PRSs and you can compare that. But in a bridge, So definitely lower output pickup. Now, of course, I'm much more comfortable on this. Now let's talk about this for a minute. This, I think I discussed it on a previous episode. I did it on a YouTube video. So what this is for is like the same thing where I'm sitting down all day playing guitar. I'm starting to lean over. And if I put the strap on the guitar, I have to, really sit up, right? And I start kind of slouching. So if I know I could raise the strap up, but then I got, this is actually easier. This goes right here. You can get it, you lock it in where you want. And then I first heard about this from Andy Timmons, actually. So I don't know if I have it in the right spot. And there we go. So there. So much more comfortable on this right away, clearly. And then the straight frets, but I could see the fan frets being a thing. So I would want to obviously change the setup on that guitar. But from an ergonomic standpoint, this has been really cool too, because now the guitar looks a bit dweeby. Who cares, If I'm sitting here doing this every day in and out, especially with the video editing and all those things that I have to do, this has been great. And what I've been finding with this, and I would find immediately with that thing, with the Strandberg as well, is that I'm not doing this. And without it, as we know, so the guitar is going to sit lower, and I start to find that I start to kind of lean over, and then the guitar drops down if I'm kind of tired, and I'm doing this, and that starts to happen. And that causes all sorts of other problems, the tech neck stuff that I think we all suffer from, on our phones and things. So this, I've noticed that I've been feeling better sitting up like this. So what are you guys' thoughts are on all this? You'd like to hear the pickups in the two different positions. Okay, we'll go back to this. Let me see a few questions here. Gary Mosley, could you play it live and feel cool though, Jeff? Well, okay, look, that's certainly a big question. I took a lot of crap online here in these channels for playing a PRS. So I'm pretty traditional in what I like as a player. Could I play that live? Honestly, I think I wouldn't use that as a performance guitar for there's many, many reasons. One, I'm just such a Strat guy, ultimately, or the DGT. I've been basically just playing. If you saw my gig the other night, it's a Strat and a DGT. They're two guitars I love playing. So I'm just like playing these guitars because I'm used to the way they react. I would have to put a lot of time into that before I started playing it live, if I did play it live. And look, then there's the image thing. If we know what I'm saying, like there's I kind of known for more being a vintagey or old school guitar playing guy. Visually, I mean, what does appeal to me more, this or the Strandberg? To my, this kind of thing, or my Strats, or my Tuttles, or my Les Pauls, or things like that. Certainly, those are things that are going to that just make me think guitar. That doesn't make me think. It does make me think guitar, but it makes me think more like Alan Haldsworth or like fusion and things. And that's obviously, I think, why that brand is so popular with that world, like the metal guys and the fusion guys, because the ergonomics of it. And Haldsworth started playing headless guitars, and I think he had something to do with like the neck on that guitar as well, and the facility that you can get on that guitar. Now, the first thing I do notice on this compared to that is, like my hand for the bending and getting the thumb over the top of the neck, there's more here. So that may be something that would get in my way. I don't know. But like I said, I'm so used to this, but that's pretty cool. So like they do sound completely different, as I'd assume they would. Would I play it live? For certain gigs, sure, why not? At this point, I really like the idea of the utilitarian aspect of it is what's appealing to me the most. You know what I mean? Like, I was talking to Tim Pierce about it. He's like, yeah, I play mine all the time. It's a ton of fun. Like, you're working, you're on the computer, you're sitting at your desk doing your thing. Sometimes having a 5-pound guitar in your neck that plays super easy is a ton of fun. And you're still playing, and you're, it cuts down on some of the wear and tear, that comes with doing this gig, like anything, right? It's just that repetitive thing, and the postural angle. So these are, by the way, I changed the pickups, just got it back yesterday from the 30th Street Guitars. These are Ron Ellis LRPs, which I just love Ron's pickups. And I made it single volume and tone. I like the Grissom pickups, and I like the way, it sounds great when David plays it. They sound great, but for me, I like one volume knob on this. David has it kind of reversed. That would be the neck volume, that's the bridge. And then you had the tone knob. I prefer it to be kind of like a Strat, a volume tone. It works really great. So all my DGTs are designed like this. So let's go back to the other one. Hold on. Somebody's asking what stand. This is just a regular old guitar stand. You know what I mean? It's not a special stand for this. It's just a regular one of these, one of those, and it seems to work with this just fine. I think it wouldn't work with that, like an A stand. I have one of those over there. It definitely wouldn't work with that. All right, so let's talk about the two positions of the pickups that Keith was mentioning. The Don't forget, it's not a back-to-back comparison. You know, it's two different things. But sounds good to me. So this is the full humbucker that Keith's got it wired in. That's just a setup that I'm kind of missing some stuff on. And then the P90-ish sort of sound that Keith was saying. So that's the only thing that I'd have to kind of mess around with more is bending with the thumb over the top. But in terms of the scale stuff, super easy, super comfortable. So that would make sense with the way the neck's designed. So those are kind of my thoughts right away. What do you guys think? I think it looks cool. I mean, it's a totally different look than what I'm used to as a guitar player. But I get it. I totally get it. I would... You know, I remember busting Keith about playing these, and I got kind of like, oh, actually, let me check that out. Let me go to the Alan Haldsworth patch on my Fractal. Let's see what we got here. Hold on. We're on the Fractal, the FM9 right now. Alan's Magic. It's a cool little... So I've got this really low level... Wow, it's really low. Forgot how low this one was. Hold on one sec. Where's the amp on this? There we go. I could totally see this stuff. Yeah. Totally see that. Yeah. It's so easy on this. I'm not struggling with it like I am on my other guitars. Yeah. I could see how that would be easier once I got used to it, all that kind of legato stuff, for sure. What else we have here? You know. Too much output on that one. Yeah. There we go. But definitely. I totally see that being a whole other world of fun than, like I said, on some of my other guitars, where that is definitely much more of a struggle to get that together. All right, so I still play my DDT Gold Top. Oh, I meant the little leg stand that hooked on the DDT. Oh yeah, of course I'm an idiot. Okay, hold on. All right, let me go through some. I'll put a link to that. That's a great. Hold on, let me call. I got some guy off of some guy on Etsy, so I'll put that link in the chat afterwards. Okay. Good question. Sorry about that. I was being an idiot. There's a guy in Italy, I believe, who makes them. I think it's I think somebody's kind of borrowing from what he did, and I found about that later, and this one's significantly less expensive, and especially with the stuff going on, the tariffs and all that stuff. It got me on the first DGT Core, which is great. And I grabbed a white 2024 DGT Core at a store in Long Island, the Rise Toronto. Oh, good for you, man. Stephen McElwain, my brother. I think we're somehow indoctrinated to think that heavier guitars is somehow better, right? Well, I've long gotten out of that one, which is cool, thank God. But yeah, remember that? Like, that 11-pound Les Paul Custom. Listen to the sustain on that, and you got to play it. How loud is with the volume off? Okay, good question, Keith. I like it, Keith. So it's pretty loud. So, if I travel, when I go over to Europe, I never bring an amp. People are like, oh, do you play through headphone amps? I'm like, no. I'd rather not. I don't really enjoy them. There's something about playing with headphones I've always hated. Even in a recording studio. So I would just sit here and pluck away on it, and my wife's completely used to it. Gary Mosley. Oh, that's a great point. I'm 6'5", so both the size of the guitar and the size of the neck would be way too small for me, but I don't think it sounds bad at all. Yeah, that's a great point. I think with this Endure neck, right, if you've got really, really big hands, and this body of this guitar could be way too small. I've got some students who are like your height, or if somebody takes a lesson online, I realize, I'm like, you're pretty tall. And they're like, how do you know? I'm like, well, I can see how small the guitar looks or how your arm sits on the body, right? If you're kind of average height, whatever that is, your guitar arm sits kind of here, but if you're really tall, a lot of times it goes like this. So it's interesting. That's a good point. Lots of pictures with Olin Holdsworth. Yeah, so, right, Alan helped him do this one, make this guitar, or make the neck, I believe. It's pretty cool. They are wired series in parallel. Makes sense. Is it easy to intonate or lower the action or setup? That I don't know. Like I said, I just got it. I just wanted to talk to Keith, who's on here talking about his guitar. He's like, yeah, just do a live thing. I think it'd be fun to get my experience with you guys right off the couch. Right live, just talking about it. So it's a good question. I don't know. To put the strings on, you put the end here. You got to clip the end. Put them in with the Allen wrench, and you pull it through. I guess that's the ball end down there, and then you tighten it that way. So, but I think it sounds good. Let's get to back to that other one. I know it's not my thing that people are like, this isn't what you know. But it's okay. Let's hear it in a track. Play a blues on it, see what happens. Hold on. Pull one up. Hey, let's do a slow one. Let's do that slow blues. I like that one. I'm going to mute my guitar, me talking. Yeah, it sounds great, doesn't it? So I think hopefully dispelling some of the ideas that those things don't sound good. I don't know. That sounded pretty freaking good to me. And that's fun. I don't usually play with one pickup, so that's kind of fun. Let me get this. There's my chat window there. Yeah, I don't usually play with one pickup like that, so it's pretty cool. All right. Yeah, I kind of had a little bit of a flub here and there. Whatever, who cares? In the sense of that was that neck. It's a little easier to play for me than I had anticipated on some of that arpeggio. Suddenly it's like, oh, I could do that. Okay, Beava's got a great question. Over time, if regular playing, how do you feel the neck would work with your hand concern given the neck shape and how often and often exacerbate the condition? I don't know. That's the big question, right? So there's certain things I can see like right away that feel really, really good. I would have to play it for a little bit before I could know. So the hand condition, for lack of a better word, the biggest thing I'm concerned about is not some of the things in my fingers. That feels a little different. I have a hand thing that happens that's got nothing to do with age or whatever. I've not really been able to play a thin-necked guitar for many years. I think it's just because of the way I bend strings and hold the neck that I need to have that kind of mass behind the neck onto my hand. If a neck is too big, I can't play it either. So if it's really thin, that would be a problem. But I'm not feeling the tension I would feel on those guitars that have the really thin neck when I was bending those strings. When I'm playing chords, not at all, because you got that. It's really quite comfortably thick right there. So I think it works. So like I said, I'd have to live with it a little bit more, Beaver. It's a great question. That guitar sound is just like Jeff McElwain. It's pretty funny. And Keith had it wired with 50s wiring. And I can hear it. So the 50s wiring thing's a ton of fun. So that's when you kind of roll back your tone knob. It gets darker, of course, but if you roll back the tone knob, the volume, watch, and then the tone, kind of also cleans up a bit. So I could feel that for sure when I was playing. And I have the same thing on all my guitars that you can have 50s wiring on. That the tone knob is very interactive with the volume knob. Right, as Keith just said. So the tone and volume knobs are more interactive. That's completely true. That's on my... Can you do 50s wiring on a 3 pickup guitar? I think you can to a certain extent. I feel that way definitely with the PRSs, the DGTs, the way they're wired. All my 4 volume knob guitars are that way for sure. So 4 knob guitars, 2 singles. For the Les Paul kind of stuff, they're all 50s wiring. And definitely a big difference for the way I play, because you can get those kind of between sounds. Hey, Buddy Blues on, what's up, man? How's it going? So just to show you what Keith is talking about and what I love, check it out, watch. There you go. Bring that tone up. Bring the volume down. And then tone down. There's like all these different colors. And I've done videos on the 50s wiring with my Les Pauls and the PRSs and stuff. When I go to a regular non-50s wired guitar, I notice it because I feel like I'm losing out. Now, if you're playing with a ton of distortion and you don't use your volume knob that much, or your tone knobs, I don't think you're really going to miss it. But I definitely miss it when I don't play that kind of music. So I definitely miss it when especially if I'm playing something, bluesy or, well, not if I play anything the way I play it. I need that kind of wiring. So, yeah, I don't know. It's pretty cool. And I'm starting to get used to the way it sits. So I get it. So let me put it this way. I totally get it. So Keith asked me he sent me a guitar because we're going to do probably a video on his channel on what's a good modern rig? Maybe plug in using like a UA pedal and see how good we can make this stuff sound. I have to admit I was pretty skeptical about the way these guitars would sound, just because I'm a dick and, old school. So I'm not having a problem with this sonically at all, which is great. And this is an upgraded pickup, so I don't know what their stock pickups are. I know they Bar Rig of the Future. I didn't want to give away the title. Bar Rig of the Future. I know they make this model with Sir pickups, and John makes great pickups. I'm sure the stock pickups for the Strandbergs are good. Michael Cope, who was going to be nice enough to send me his guitar, but Keith sent me this one. I can't get along with Fender V-necks. The Strandberg neck is really easy to accommodate and really helped me continue to play after I had a shoulder injury. I could see that. I have a soft V on my early 50s clone, and I find after I was playing it for a little while, I started to feel something. I know John Cordy's going on about this with his, he's dealing with that with his Nacho caster, like with the V-neck. I don't think I can play V-necks either. So I really like the sound of the C-necks. And this thing, I totally get it. To answer BB's question once again, over time, I don't know how it's going to feel, but I don't feel any stress or strain while playing it, you know? So, I mean, on its own, like I think that blues, if I played it and if you closed your eyes, you wouldn't be like, oh, that's a Strandberg. You know, that's kind of what I go by. Like, what's it going to sound like? Now, I think I'm going to do a video on this. I was at my friends at Watchtower's place, and there's a friend of mine, Watchtower Guitars. They're playing some PRSs. What a friend of mine wanted me to pick out a DGT for him, a core, and they had a whole bunch of them. And I picked up like 5. There's a bunch more than I was strumming the ones, and I was like, this is a good one. This one's like resonating with me because I could strum it. And I go, oh, this has got something going on. So the first thing I noticed when I picked this up, and all my guitars, is that you can feel it resonating. To me, that's really, really important. So this brings me to the point of which I thought was really funny. I did that video like on unpopular guitar myths, and I talked about how tone woods don't matter, and tone woods just can get snooty. Wood doesn't matter. And there's a guy on YouTube, Jim Lynn, I think, who did this really great series of videos and stuff. A ton of fun watching him. If you check out his videos, he does the one where like guitar doesn't matter. He just did all this stuff with one pickup, took it out, and then he put that same pickup on like a table and all this stuff. And he said some other great videos. So you should check it out. And so the thing going around was that wood doesn't matter. It's only the pickups that matter. And I've got a video of me playing like 5 DGTs. PRS is really kind of on top of their, the guitars go all set up the same way. They're really, really insistent upon all the guitars. So they all played almost exactly the same, and they all sounded different. Same pickups, same wood, right? Same everything, same model, and they sounded different. So I don't know, I'm not saying that guy's video is wrong, but when you do that, when you get to pick up 5 of the same guitar setup, same string gauge, same pickup height, because that's the way they send them out. Are they going to be exactly? People argue that. It was pretty noticeable. And what I noticed was the things that I heard acoustically were what came out amplified. So I know people want to argue that at some points in time, but that was pretty clear to all of us at the store. We're playing through, and it was like, wow, yeah. Or some sounded better, they just sounded different. This one's brighter, but it sounded brighter when you were playing it, Straighten this strap out here. Phoebe, what was the neck shape on that super light Masterbuilt Esquire? It was a C. It was like a medium C. It wasn't huge. It was bright. That's that Jeff Beck Esquire they have at Watchtower, which is way out of my price range. And it was great. That seemed like a medium to thicker, medium C. Medium to thicker. But definitely it was not a V at all. It's great neck on that guitar. Like my Landaus, that's kind of like more of a flatter back with bigger shoulders, so I like that too. But generally I like a C, and for me, I love the neck I have on my Tuttle, which is a 860 C neck, and I'm also love the necks that are on the DGTs. And interestingly enough, I have 3, they all feel a little bit different. So the necks they're supposed to be exactly the same, but they do feel a little different. I think that's because they're the way they hand sand them there and all that. Lamar Brewster, he asked, I've not changed strings on this yet. I have no idea. Buddy Blues did a cool video on playing one of these. He's on here he had this Stratish looking one, the one that looks like a Strat, like with the 3 pickups and the humbucker, aesthetically. Medium thick, thank you. So maybe he would know. I've not changed strings in this. Keith is on here. What's it like changing strings on this? It doesn't seem that difficult once you probably get used to it, right? You just loosen this up. You put the ball end down here, I'm assuming. You pull the string through up here, and then you tighten this thing and a little screw wrench right here, and then you cut off the ends. What's interesting, just as we're talking about all these kind of things as I play it, I'm not missing a headstock. Like when I played Steinbergers, okay, let's talk about that for a second. The first thing I noticed right away, which I hated the Steinbergers I played, and I hate travel guitars because they don't have a full size enough neck. Well, the Strandbergers do, but the body. So this feels like I'm playing a Strat right now. Right over here feels exactly like a Strat. Got the armrest. It's curved. Feels totally comfortable. So there's no readjustment over here. Like I said, Steinbergers, when they're that thin body, you stand up and like everything's weird, and you're sitting down. You have that little thing that goes on the side that comes out, and and I didn't visually. The only thing that's a little strange to me is looking down and seeing the fan frets and 24 frets. So I'm totally not used to 24 frets on a guitar anymore. And then add in the fan frets, and that's a bit weird. Any other comment? It's not a criticism. It's just it's hard to see where the dots are on this. So, as it fans, the dot doesn't line up in the middle of the fret. It kind of goes a bit to the side. I don't have autofocus on here, but so visually I have to get used to it. That was a little weird when I was looking down. I'm like, what fret is that? Because this dot is a bit leaning more close to the fret that's previous to it, as opposed to being right in the middle of the fret, if that makes sense. Can I see that? I know I don't have autofocus. But see, like the double dot for the is a little close to the 12th fret. As we go up here, this is the 15th. No, that's the 17th fret. But I would probably want it right more in the middle of the fret than back over here a little bit. Can you see that? Sorry. I'm covering it with the guitar. I noticed that now because I can see the couple of second delay. But that's just a little weird for me. Just that little kind of off right there. All right. I can see there we go, my delayed video. That's a little weird visually. But other than that, I'm really impressed. I really am, because what they've done, like these haven't been around for a while. A lot of people play them probably like, yeah, of course, you idiot. Is it doesn't feel weird. A little getting used to, of course, but I think you getting used to playing a Strat and then playing a Les Paul. If you've never played a Les Paul, those things sit over here. I think my friend called it when you're playing Les Paul. He goes, what was he called? The Les Paul slouch. So what it was is like this kind of, the guitar is over here and you're leaning over it because the body's over here, and that's something we called it, the LP slouch or something like that. So I'm digging it. Thanks, Keith. This is a ton of fun. Yeah, I could see as I was starting to play that blues, that was feeling pretty comfortable sitting right there. So I'm sorry, Keith and Michael, everyone, I gave you, when I busted your balls about playing one of these. I get it. And yeah, like Michael, you're saying if you had a shoulder injury, I could totally see this thing. The session stoop. But one of the surprising things is that it will hang on a wall hanger. Oh wow, that's cool. I don't know, super comfortable. I'm gonna give it a big thumbs up. It's like if you close your eyes. But yeah, not quite comfortable with it just yet. But that's just me, because it's where it's sitting. I think if I can, yeah, let's do this. Yeah. Yeah, more comfortable with it this way. So some of the mistakes I'm making, I think, is I'm just not really quite used to playing like that just yet. Especially with bendy stuff. Any questions, guys? Hey, what's up, Nick Granville, man? How's it going, man? Vindicated by Michael Cope. Yes. I get it, man. I totally get it. sound like? I mean, it sounds like its own thing, but hold on. Compare it to the core DGT. It's got PDR. It got different pickups in it. But hold on. So it doesn't have the semi-hollow thing going on, but yeah, I mean, they both sound great. I gotta get used to playing this. So Michael Cope's saying this one sounds better than mine. I will say, for sure, pickups make a huge difference, though. I mean, that is something that's really big. Like I said, I change the pickups usually in my PRSs. I think PRS makes nice pickups. I just prefer Ron Ellis. Yes, I know they're expensive, and Ron's my friend and all that. But I do notice a difference. So I think, Michael, I mean, pickup is one of the cheapest ways to upgrade that guitar pretty easily. And, you know, you definitely don't need Ron Ellis pickups. Hold on. Some other questions. How the chords intonate in different positions of the neck? Very good. Very well, I should say. I totally want to check out the one with those squiggly frets, you know, the tempered one. But let's hear. Yeah. I think it intonates really well. I didn't notice anything. And also, I did tune it when I got it from Keith. It was a little flat, but interestingly, it was uniformly flat. So I think maybe Keith had it was just tuned a little flat coming from Keith. This thing, it's been staying in tune really, really great. I didn't notice any intonation issues. I would probably like a neck pickup, but the way Keith has got this thing set up, I'm not quite missing it at the moment, frankly. If you kind of think of it as like a junior, you know, right? But now, like, of course, Nick Rainfield, you're right. Changing the pickups is the biggest change one can make to a guitarist's tone. Yeah. I've yet to try Ron Ellis pickups, but everybody really loves them. They're really great, and I realize they're cost prohibitive for many people. But I mean, Duncan's are great. DiMarzio's are great. Oftentimes the OEM pickups, you know, the original coming from the manufacturers, the guitars. Okay, let's talk about the price of these. What are they? So let me take a look over here. At Sweetwater, Strandberg. And I have spoken to people at Strandberg, and they're really cool. Okay, so you have the Essentials, which is their lowest price one. The guitars are made in Indonesia, and I wish I could bring this up on screen. I'd have to get a new window and all that. They're at $10.99 in the States. And those have straight frets. They don't have the fanned frets. So the next bump up would be... so that's pretty reasonable as guitars go these days, right? So the standard is like $17.95, that kind of thing. There's one here, $17.45 for a standard with a kind of a flamey top. I think this is the Rich Light board, so it's not actual wood, as far as I know. It is. They're going for the whole a big sustainability thing, and I can totally appreciate that too. So I feel like I might knock it out of tune with my right hand. No, not at all. Like, they're actually pretty stiff in a good way, but no, I mean, no. That's a good question. That is Rich Light, right? So look, watch. I'm rolling my hand on this pretty hard. So no, not at all. So to turn that's sort of like you got to go out of your way to do it. Is that from Watchtower? No, they don't have these at Watchtower. If you want to check them out, I got the link down below for Sweetwater if you want to check them out. If you decide to buy one, I'm not getting paid or anything. I get a affiliate link from Sweetwater, but I'm not. This is not a sponsored video. I just thought if anyone wants one, check them out over there, and it helps out the channel. But I'm kind of digging it. They don't make this one anymore, but they're about $2,800 new. Because this is a name one, right? This is like a person's name, I think, right? Not sure what Keith's experience is, but mine stays in tune forever and intonates incredibly well. Yeah, this was in tune when I pulled out of the box. Like when Keith gave it to me, it was perfectly in tune. All right. See if it fits in the suitcase. And hold on. Here's the gig bag, which is really pretty solid. I don't think this is going to fit overhead. Unfortunately, not in an international flight because they really kind of gotten back in it. But this is pretty good. And when Keith sent the box to me, the total weight of the box was 11 pounds. So, when you send a guitar, they're a lot more than 11 pounds. So yeah, there you go. I thought this would be a fun thing. Like I said, I wasn't going to come on today. And BB last minute, thank you so much for being here. I do have, as BB was talking about, I got my course on sale for, it's a masterclass. It's a replay of the live masterclass called Blues, what's it called this one? Blues Guitar Rhythm Moose. And it's all HD film to get background tracks and tab and notation. It's about 2 hours long of a live masterclass, and it is on sale for 75% off. So that's a really inexpensive way to check out one of those and help out the channel if you like what we're doing here as well. Do I have any gigs coming up? No, I just played one the other day, and I think it went well. Angus Clark played with me. That was a ton of fun, and I'll book some more soon. I had a good time. I used my Friedman this time. That was totally fun. The J.K. Lee amp back there. Jeff starts out by saying borrow, and now it's give or gave. Yeah, Keith gave this to me. Keith's my good friend. No, okay. So I'm digging it. All right. This is Jim Jack Jones. I love that you do stuff like this, Jeff. Thanks. Sounded great. Was a track, of course. Thanks, man. I think you just posted that. Truly the golden age of guitar geekdom. Seriously, right? So if I think about this, it's like it's made in Indonesia, so that keeps the cost down. In no way does this guitar feel cheap. It's like the PRS SCs; those are made in the Indonesia plant too. They don't feel cheap at all. They're really, really good. So people of my age and somewhere younger, inexpensive guitars, like cheap guitars made out of the States and something like that, were really crappy. This is really good. This is, there's nothing about this that makes it feel inexpensive. Not that $2,800 is inexpensive. It's not. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't feel like what you'd think something years ago not made in like the States or Japan would be. Okay, so. Stainless steel frets feel great. So as I sit with it and played that blues with it, it's just a matter of getting used to the neck and the flatter feel. But I've said this many times too. I think you can get used to just about anything. I never thought I would never like 7 1/4. And my Tuttle is 7 1/4, and I think that's great too. So I'm so used to it, and there's things that I like about each of the stuff. So I think that's what I would like. That's what I like about this too. The 20-inch radius, I could see certain things are going to be easier, and as a result, sometimes like the bends, I'm like, oh, okay, I don't have to work as hard on the bend maybe, or something like that. So interesting, and once again, the fan frets and the multi-scale is really interesting, and I'm feeling that, which is kind of nice. The higher frets, I think Keith, you would answer me, it's like 25 scale, and it goes to more of like a Strat scale down here. And you can feel it down on those lower strings, which I like having feel a little thicker, and then the higher strings are a little looser. So definitely super smart guitar. And if you ever seen Ola Strandberg interviewed, it doesn't, no surprise. So yeah. Love my DGT SC, use it all the time. Indonesian instruments have come a long way, really long way, yeah. Jim Jack Jones, okay, you want to know if it's a new course, and BV answered it. No, it's an older masterclass from a while ago. It's not for sale openly anymore, but it was one of the older ones. If it turns out you have that one, just let me know. If you get it and you're like, oh, I actually have this, just let me know. Just take a look, and I will take care of you. All right, so I want to say thanks to everyone for hanging out and checking this out with me. I think it was fun. So apparently this had an active pickup in it that Keith changed to the bare knuckles, which sounds great. And he left the battery in, so I'll take the battery out so it doesn't corrode inside his guitar. I'll do that with two hands later. All right, so super easy access here, which is kind of fun. Super smart. All right, everyone. I will see you. I got a video coming out this weekend, as always. Hey, if you share the channel. YouTube has been really rough lately on getting them their views, man. Wow. I think they must have changed some sort of algorithmic thing going on, because it has been brutal. So, are you guys seeing the live feed? Like when I do, are you seeing a video when it comes out? Is it in your feed? Because, surprising. And it's shocking too. All right. Thanks, everyone. I always appreciate you being here, and I'll see you all live in 2 weeks, and I'll see you on the web and all that. So go over to Jam Guitar Lessons. 75% off that masterclass, under $16 in the old US. So, all right, everyone. Thanks so much. And Keith, thanks for being here, and thanks for letting me borrow the guitar. And BB, thanks so much as always. I'll see you guys later.